Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani.
And I'm Danny.
And we're excited because we are in 28 days of a love challenge. If you have not started, you need to get down with the get down because it's been an amazing.
It's been so fun. And Hassani, you've been showing up, but you need to show people what you're doing. Like I show the people what you did, but he's been doing the most. He's been doing some shopping for me and doing some sweet things, cleaning up for me. Y'all, all you have to do is follow the prompts. It's not even that hard. We're very, very busy, right? But we still find time to follow the prompts and do the love thing. So have you been enjoying yourself in the love challenge?
Of course. It's been great doing it. It's been great receiving it. It's going to get deeper.
It's going to get hot.
So listen, if you have not registered, go to the link in the description, set it up, get started today. Our day 4 may be your day 1. But just get through the 28 days. It does not matter. You start when you get started. Yeah. We're in this love series.
We want to make sure that we invite people to share, and subscribe. So make sure that you guys do that. Also, when you come on, say hello. Let us know where you're from. Put your name in there. This is so-and-so. This is Bob. This is Jane from so-and-so. Let us know so that we can acknowledge you. And comment. We're reading the comments. So if you say something interesting, we're going to put you on the stage and we're going to comment. We're going to banter back and forth with you, okay? Now, babe, jump into it.
Oh, yeah. One quick announcement. Last Chance Weekend, it is fast approaching. It is February the 21st through the 23rd. So make sure you book your space and you come because it's going to be a transformational experience. And because it's Love Month, we always do something uniquely different. Listen, I have a great testimonial from someone who was a participant in the Last Chance Weekend. Listen to him and we'll get started with today's show.
Hi, my name is Gilberto Kennedy. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. And, you know, as a 20-year veteran, just retired from the military, I've experienced a lot of things. Been through a lot, had to do a lot. And nothing could prepare me for what I had in store here at Couples Academy. I was brought down to my lowest by design. And then I was also brought up as well. And some of the things that took place here, I don't even think words can do the proper service to it. It's something that you definitely have to experience for yourself. But if you're in a position where your marriage is literally on a string, then this is a place where you need to be. There was no hope for my marriage. I was separated from the home, away from my kids. And it really felt like I was, co-parenting from a distance, even though we was only 5 miles away. And being here, one of the first things my wife said to me after day 2 is, "I want you back home." And that was far away from where we were before we got here. So if you truly value the covenant that you have within your household, and you truly want to experience what it means to truly know who you are as an individual to better know your spouse, then Couple Academy is the place where you need to be.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the Couples Academy show, and we are talking about Eros love. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Natural Beauty. Hey, from Louisiana, she's chiming in. Yes. So let's jump into this, Hassani. I want us to get real deep quick because we got a lot to cover.
All right. We were talking about the 8 types of love. As you can see, Agape, Philia, Pragma, Mania, Eros, Philia, Storage, and Ludus. Ludus. You know what I'm saying.
I do.
Stop correcting me in
public.
Think
about Lucius.
Lucius.
Stop correcting you in public.
All right, so today we're talking about Eros love. Now, most of you are familiar with Eros love, but we want to give you a comprehensive breakdown and walk it out step by step. All right, Eros love is passionate, romantic, and deeply physical. It is the spark that ignites attraction, the thrill of desire, and the intoxicating pull that draws two people together, often associated with romance and sexuality. Eros is named after the Greek god of love and represents the primal instinctual energy of love. It's comprised of intense attraction, undeniable chemistry and the emotional high of a new relationship.
Oh man, that's when we are like hot and heavy in it. We are passionate. We are
Yes.
excited for each other. I can't wait to see you. I have picked up your scent, your pheromones. You have picked up mine. You know that. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Like, you know what? You've been married for so long, like you forget that. But there's a smell. You know, there's a smell that you'll do, and you be like all up in the neck, and it's just like woo, right?
That's real talk.
That's that season.
That's real talk. That's why, you know, for
It's
instance,
chemical.
when I'm on the road traveling, you may sleep on my side of the bed because my
Yeah,
scent is
I
in
do.
You see what I'm
I
saying?
do. Yeah, I do that.
Anyway, so Eros love is what you have at the very beginning of the relationship. It's after ludus, or ludus is after ludus, because ludus, that type of love, that's when you first meet somebody. You're getting to know them. Is there an attraction? Is there something more? And it transitions into Eros, which is this highly intoxicating feeling. We say this all the time. The two things that initiate a relationship are physical attraction and emotional desirability.
Yeah. Well, let's get real quick. So,
Okay.
so let's talk about when we first met. Who do you think was the first one to like actually show up and show out, display the Eros?
Probably me.
How did that go?
We had, you know what? This is what had happened was I was traveling all over the country at that time. I was a speaker talking about relationships on college campuses. And I did a seminar, met Danielle at the seminar. We were communicating back and forth through email and things of that nature for a while. We decided to meet. I didn't realize who you were when we met at the Panera Bread. I just vaguely remembered you from a distance because you were
I don't
among
think
the crowd.
we never met.
We never met till that
never
day?
met that
We
night.
never met that
That
night.
day.
So, right, I never saw you.
No.
I didn't know what you looked like.
I
But
was just there in the crowd.
we had this conversation. Anyway, so we met at the Panera Bread and it was like, okay, all right.
But you didn't have Eros then.
I didn't. Can I tell my
Okay,
story?
go ahead.
I'm building a foundation. So anyway, we met. It was cool. I went back on the road. Maybe a couple months later, we were just having deeper conversations.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when I was on the road, it was, you know, women were approaching. They were trying to do all types of things to get up in my space. And so we're talking every day, and I'm just like, what's up with you? Like, I got all these other women coming at me, wanting to be a part of this world. What's up with you? And so that transitioned into us having a keeping it real conversation. I said, can we just have a keeping it real conversation? And so when we had that conversation, it was at that moment that I really expressed how I felt about her. And it was then that she expressed how she felt about me. She was waiting, right? Because some women are waiting to be approached.
At the end of the day, you know, if you're a young guy, he's out here speaking at different college campuses, what have you, and girls are like, ooh, I like what I see, and showing up at the hotel room and all this and that. You know, maybe we're old school. Maybe we're old school because I mean, I've heard things have changed around here, but there was a time when a man appreciated the chase. Right. And, you know, even though it's flattering for women to approach and to chase you, you know, that the fact that I was just chilling in the cut, OK, and working side by side and being patient. And the truth is that I wasn't thirsty either. Like, it's not like I didn't have options and I wasn't interested. I was in a season where I just wasn't interested in anything but being about my business. And so it was just I'm not going to say that it was a God thing, but because God was in us, but it was just perfect timing, perfect circumstances. And it was just like, hold up, there he is. And there she is. And like the epiphany that hit.
Yeah.
Because we were developing a friendship.
Now, I think what's important, we're living in a different day today,
are.
right? So I don't even know if what I'm about to say is applicable because when people start asking me questions about dating, I'm like, I'm not your guy.
Let me direct
I'm so
you
far
over here.
removed.
Not the one.
Like, it seems like it's a different
I can
world.
keep you married though.
But there you go. But back in the day, to be quite honest, men didn't want women approaching.
Oh, really? Okay.
We didn't want that.
Oh.
Like it's nice. It's nice to know that somebody's attracted to you, but you start questioning the woman who's approaching you. Like, all right, well, if you approaching me, well, who else you approaching?
Oh. I don't think it's
what,
like that.
And what we back in the day. Men are naturally chasers. We pursue, we hunt. But when we are acquired by someone else, we don't feel like she's really ours because it wasn't our chase. It wasn't our agenda. And so that's why back in the day, a lot of times when women would approach a man and lock him down in a relationship, that man wasn't necessarily happy because it wasn't his choice.
You know, I read something and
Because men chase and women choose.
Right. Well, that's how it's always been. And I read something, I need to do a little bit more research on this. Maybe you know a little bit more about it, but it talks about how during that season, that Eros season, that a man releases certain hormones for the chase. And that after they acquire a woman, those hormones diminish a little bit. Have you ever heard about that?
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, from a perspective in a sexual way, you have all this desire and passion and anticipation to be with a woman. And then once you have had sex, it's just like, I'm good now. Like all of that completely diminishes. And this is look at this. We become so infatuated emotionally by a person. It's not real love. It doesn't represent commitment. It's just strong physical attraction. And then we move on to the next. And you could be attracted to a lot of people, but there's no love connection there.
Right. Yeah, nothing to bond you and see you. I think that's one of the things that held us, is that we had spent so much time in that ludus. Well, actually, before the ludus, we were connecting on business and other things. The ludus developed, right? The friendship, and then the eros followed us. So I just think that, you know, these different loves need to be compounded in some way. Like you need to stack these layers in your relationship to build a strong foundation. It's like threads, right? These are threads that are woven together to make something strong.
But to your point, Danielle, there is a science behind Eros, okay? And it's based upon chemistry. And when we were talking about these emotions or these chemical things that release in our body, we know them. They're dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. And just look at it. Dopamine is the pleasure and reward hormone, okay? Making love feel like an addiction. So if I've got you sexually, it's a release of dopamine.
We all know what that sounds like and feels like. We get it.
There it is. Oxytocin, that's the bonding hormone, okay? So it creates an attachment and trust. Then serotonin is the mood regulator, okay? It's affecting your obsession and your desire for another person. So when these are constantly flooding in the very beginning,
why can't they roll that up into a joint? Dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. The love potion.
that would be great. Unfortunately, a lot of addictive behaviors are based upon flooded dopamine.
Truly.
You see what I'm saying?
We need to regulate it.
You can get dopamine from a variety of different things. But that's a good point, Danielle. If we're in a loveless relationship, let me not say loveless. We love each other. But that Eros love, that ludus love is not there. If there were like a pill that had dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin in there to reconnect.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Man.
But what do you think about this whole idea of love at first sight? You know, they talk about it was love at first sight. Now you can see somebody who's fine, but no, people talk about that, right?
I don't believe in that.
So what do you think it is?
I don't believe in that.
So
I think,
is it just flirtation? What is it if it's not a real thing?
Well, think about it. We know from a cheating perspective, right? There's something called the dangerous partner profile. And the dangerous partner profile is really a very it's a very strong attraction and instant attraction that you have for another person on sight. And likewise, when it comes to love at first sight, that's what it is. I see you from a distance. You are fine. I like the way you talk. I like the way you walk, the way you smell, your aura, your essence, your everything. I just feel in love. It's a flooding of emotions that takes over.
And does it release those hormones we're talking about?
It does. It can. But to your point, if we're basing love simply on an emotion, I guess you could call it love. It's Eros love.
Except for emotions are fleeting, right? So we know that your emotions are energy in motion. And so it'll move in this direction. And then the next fine person that walks by will move in that direction.
And that's the problem.
Exactly.
That right there is a problem. That's why Eros love can be extremely dangerous if it's not attached to emotional connection and a relational commitment. Because you could wind up loving everybody.
Oof.
And that's the problem. And then that's when portrayal begins to take over. But when we're talking about the role of chemistry, because that's ultimately what it is, it's a chemistry between two people. And usually it becomes very natural and normal at the beginning of the relationship, and then has to become intentional once you've entered into a committed relationship. Now, we said this before, Eros love can't last but so long, because if you had it for too long, you probably lose your job, right? Because you're playing hooky.
If you're super irresponsible with it.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure, yeah.
You're obsessed. It's an addictive behavior. It drives you. It becomes the area of your focus. Everything becomes about that person. It's all consuming. And so all the other areas of life kind of lose its sense of importance, and then things start dropping and falling all around you. So it's got to normalize. I like to compare. And matter of fact, we were just talking about this morning. Eros love is like a sprint, right? And then agape love is like a marathon. Like, to sprint, you're running fast, but it's a short race. A marathon is a longer race. So you don't come out the gates fast. You develop a tempo, a rhythm, and a pattern that carries you through to the end of that marathon, which is like, what, 27 miles, whatever it is. But a 100-yard dash?
Yeah. And
it's a whole different
that's
race.
why I think it's important that we understand that, because we think that if the Eros love is diminishing, something's wrong. It needs to actually transfer into that agape. We're talking about Eros today, but yesterday when we were talking about the ludus, that's the beginning. There's stages to love, and we need to be able to acknowledge them, recognize them, and fully enjoy them, enjoy them to the max, but recognize what's happening, because people get into Eros love, and then when that starts to transition or is in the season where it needs to calm down and become more solidified, right? Move into that marathon. People start thinking, are we falling out of love? I'm not feeling the same way I felt about you. I don't have that passion that I used to have about you. You have to actually understand that thing is switching and changing into a new love.
For sure.
And that we need to learn how to experience those emotions and feelings all throughout the relationship. And we can do that. We can definitely do that. But you might be in the agape stage, not necessarily falling out of love.
Facts. Now, before we get into talking about, okay, we've been married for 10, 15, 20 years. How do we bring it back in? Let's look at the 4 components of Eros love, what drives it in the first place. The first thing is physical attraction. At the end of the day, physical attraction, emotional desirability. So you look good. I like the way you look. I like your body. I like the shape of the clothes. Like, I'm drawn to you. And usually when you're single, there's a potential for a relationship. So you're not coming out the house looking crazy. You dressed up, you dressed nice, you on the market, you ready to be seen. But then when you get into a committed relationship, you want to maintain that strong attraction.
Yeah, it's important, because you're in the do-rag now, you're in the muumuu, you're in the raggedy t-shirt with holes and paint stains on it, and it's not sexy. It's not sexy. If you met your partner that way, you would move on. That would not be drawn. There would be no Eros there, right? But you met them looking fine. You met them getting together on date nights where they smell good. This is important to continue to do in your relationship, so you can maintain that passion, that connection. That physical attraction is important. Now, it may not be as important to me as it is to someone else, because people have different levels of that attraction, and people are attracted to different things. But whatever it was that attracted your spouse, you need to be maintaining that.
As they say, there's 2 things that make a first impression: what you look like and what comes out of your mouth. Okay.
And what you smell like too, and what your teeth look like.
All the above. That's all about what you look like, right? So look in the mirror. How do you look? Have you seen yourself? Like, real talk. Your hygiene.
How about let's do this, babe. Let's do this. Go to your spouse and have a real conversation with them. Do you like what you see? Like, what can I do to improve? Let's talk about this. What can we do? Do we like what we see? Are we attracted to this? What can we do to improve this? Do you like how I'm smelling lately? Do you like how, all the things? These are conversations that need to be had, because one thing I'll say is that how you were dressing and looking when you first met may not be appropriate today.
Facts.
If you still wearing the same suit from back in the day, Benson, it's time to change the suit, bruh. And same thing for us ladies. If we still wearing the same drawers. They can't even be called panties because, you know, we go through these seasons where we, you know, when we're pregnant and stuff, we putting on like drawers. Okay, like they big, they cover the stomach.
You know, I know. We got 4 kids.
It might be time to throw your drawers away, sis, and get some panties.
Lord have mercy.
Now, I'm saying all this and we're being facetious, but this is real.
We're being real.
We're being real, but we're joking about it too, but we're being real. It's important. It's important for us to maintain those things that bring us that love, that in-love feeling. It can stay, it can still linger. You have to just bring it about in a different way because it's not going to produce itself through hormones as easily. We need to be participants in it.
The next thing after we talk about physical attraction is emotional desirability, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a strong, intense emotion.
Connection.
It's the way that you make me feel. Mm-hmm. It's that eros. So that's really important. But number 3, check this out. Mystery and anticipation.
Okay.
That's huge. And I think
like
that's
it.
Lost in a lot of long-term committed relationships. Right. The unknown. The chase is based upon the unknown.
But you're so unpredictable.
Am I?
No. But, you know, we're working on that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, we've been married for 22 years, all right? So we have to do things that are unpredictable. This is the point. Like, at the end of the day, the routine is the routine. Hassani and I sleep on the same side of the bed every day. We get up every day. We get us our coffee every day. Like, we do all the things. Mm-hmm. It's routine. So bringing mystery and anticipation is something that we have to do intentional. I know him through and through. Mm-hmm. I know his moves. I know exactly. I know everything about him from when he's hungry to when he needs to go to the bathroom. I know him. We are one. Okay?
What do I look like when I need to go to the bathroom? Okay, but you know
but
what
I know.
Okay, so next. So here's the deal. When it comes to mystery and anticipation, to your point, you have to create new. You have to have something new. You have to have something different in order to keep that excitement alive. Unfortunately, most people are searching for new and different and can't find it in their spouse. And as a consequence, they're searching for someone new someone different when they could be intentional to have it in their own relationship. And that's what's critically important. So this level of excitement means everything.
It really does. Like, I want to see, like, okay, you got new kids? Okay. Oh, you cut your face different? Okay. Oh, let's grow some hair now. Let's do that. You know, just like, and I feel like a lot of times women do that. Like, women switch it up a lot, but it's not necessarily because they're doing it for them, for their spouse, right? It's not necessarily intentional towards your spouse to make them excited and create mystery for them. It's just that you like to switch it up, right? But you need to be intentional about creating an environment of mysteriousness, right? Like, every time he comes home, it shouldn't be the same old, same old. Sometimes maybe have something going on, like cooking something, making something new, dress a little different, like bring a spark so that it seems mysterious. You know, like, you don't know what she's gonna do today.
You know, Danielle, what you're saying is so important, so true. And there's a phenomenal book called the Mating in Captivity. That's the name of the book, by Esther Perel. And in there, she talks about the complexity between the fact that there's 2 different drives within us, intimacy and desire. And oftentimes when you get into a long-term committed relationship, you're searching for intimacy. And intimacy means closeness, physical, emotional closeness, right? That creates security, predictability, that sustains the relationship. However, the closer you get and the more intimacy you have, it can kill desire. Desire is a part of the Eros, ludus type of love, and you need desire. So what happens when you have all intimacy and no desire? In the book, it says that sometimes you have to create an artificial distance between the 2 of you so that you can begin to desire again the spouse that you have. So
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
It really does. It really does.
I think, you know, my brother said this to me years ago. He was just like, one thing that I think really helps y'all's relationship is that Hassani travels a lot. This was when we were much younger. He said this when we had young kids. And I'm like, you know, there could could be some truth to that because, you know, you're anticipating, like he's been gone for 2 days when you used to speak at the colleges. He's been gone for 2 days, you know, like I can't wait for him to get home. I miss him, you know, and so that's real. But if you're with your spouse every day and it's the same routine and you come home and you do dinner and you go take a shower and you go to bed, like it's monotonous. It takes away from the mystery. There's nothing to anticipate. You already know what it is, right? I remember saying to you, you know, I really like it whenever you go somewhere to bring me something back. It doesn't have to be anything particular. It could be you got a keychain or something, but just bring me something back because that even brings anticipation and excitement, some energy. So it's not that hard to do if you think about it. You know, a couple of people have said in the 28-day challenge post that this challenge is reminding them that they could easily just, you know, add more love to their relationship. It's not that hard to do it. And so it's the same thing with this. If you think about it, it's a lot easier than you might believe to start to add that mysterious anticipation in your relationship.
Sure.
Just do it. It's fun. It's fun for you too.
Sure. So physical attraction, right? Emotional connection, mystery and anticipation. And lastly, shared experiences.
We talked about that a little bit yesterday.
We did. So the question is, how do we bring it back? Like if you've lost it in your relationship, how do you bring it back? There's a couple things you need to do. Danielle, well, first of all, number one, right? You've got to prioritize physical and emotional intimacy. It's critically important. Like a lot of couples stop coming together. They stop connecting. They stop prioritizing this very thing. So we're talking about physical intimacy, touch. A lot of people say, well, the only time you touch me is when you want to have sex. And unfortunately, that may be the reality.
Sometimes it be like that.
That may be the reality. And you got to break out of that mode. Because when I used to touch her, she was just like, all right, he wants something. All right, obviously, I know what it is. It's been 2 days. It's been 3 days. I know the cycle.
I will be honest. You're so much better at that. Remember, we were talking about this at one of our last chance weekend, how Hassani would approach me and he would be like, or, you know, because those were the parts. So he would be grabbing parts. And I'm like, are you touching me for me? Or are you touching me for you? Well, I'm obviously touching me for you. I mean, touching you for me. But that's not going to turn on those chemicals in your woman who wants to feel desire, but not just sexually. So I had to show him how to touch me. Touch me on my shoulders. Lead up to the other parts, but don't just go straight for the sexual organs,
exactly.
Right? So sometimes it's like that and you don't know what you don't know, but just learning what is it that your spouse needs to feel that connection. You want them to be drawn into you, not repelled from you. You want them to approach you just like you're approaching them, not feel like they got to pull away or hide or cover up because all you want is sex. Okay?
Facts.
The second one is keep the mystery and excitement alive. Okay? So do those things, right? Be mysterious. Switch it up. When we were younger, I remember at one time I'm like, I'm gonna switch it up, and I had a whole wig and I put a wig on and it didn't land well. But I did that, you know, like the point, because Hassani's super serious, so he's like, what you got a wig on? Yeah, I'm trying to turn it up, okay? But whatever it is, like try new things to keep it mysterious. Never. What's a good way to say it? Like, don't let them see what your left hand is doing. Don't let your right hand see what your left hand is doing. Like, always keep them on their toes.
Very true. And when you do that, it's something new. It's something different. It's something to look forward to. Like you're out of the humdrum.
You talk about old shoe sets.
Yes.
Right. So we know we have like a gazillion shoes in the closet, ladies, like a gazillion. Hassani will go through a room and ask, and people be having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shoes. Right.
Facts.
And he was like, well, how would you feel if you only had one pair of shoes for the rest of your life? And every woman in the room was like, you know, like it's the worst thing ever. Exactly. So it's the same thing in your relationship, not just sexually, but in all things, like every day. Do you want the same meal for dinner every single day for the rest of your life? So then you don't, even though you're married to the same person, you don't want the same experience with that person every day for the rest of your life. This is what creates the monotony. And so if you're intentional to bring some spice and some spark in whatever way that you can, that's what revives it. That's what makes it exciting, something to look forward to when you come home.
Yes.
All the things that we say that we desire.
Yes. for a fact. The next thing we need to do if we want to reignite Eros back into the marriage is that we have to balance passion with stability. So of course, passion is the Eros love, but stability, that represents the long-term love, and incorporating it intentionally in the relationship by scheduling quality time together, whether we're talking about date nights, whether we're talking about if you've got crazy busy schedules, even scheduling sex. We've been talking about that for years. Some people embrace it. Some people think it's crazy, but the reality is you prioritize, you schedule what you prioritize, period, point blank.
100%.
If you prioritize it, you put that thing on the schedule. And then the last thing, Danielle.
Take care of yourself and your individual growth. This is huge. So, you know, if you've been together for a long time, you know, sometimes you start slipping. You're not caring about what you're looking like. You're not dressing the way you're supposed to. You're not even taking care of your health. That's a big deal. Like, you know, part of showing your spouse that you love them is letting them know that you plan to be here for them, right? So that means taking care of your health, getting to the doctor, getting to the gym, you know, making sure that you're good, that you're going to last. You know, you got a family and everything like that. Sometimes we just get so monotonous and we don't care about impressing our spouse anymore because they ain't going nowhere. Yeah, but you might be going somewhere if you haven't taken good care of yourself. So it's really important that we do that. It helps us to maintain the passion and the interest in each other. And you can also use this as a way to connect, right? How about doing it together? How about going to the gym together? How about scheduling doctor's appointments together and being proud about what's going on inside, right?
Facts.
Hassani and I, Hassani actually just did his blood panel test, all these blood panels, and I'm doing the same thing. And it's good for us to be able to have these conversations to say, okay, this is all what's going on. We're good. We got about 30 years. We might be 40 some years old, but the records are showing that we like 30, you know?
And that's true. Like your chronological age and your physical biological age can be two different things. So you can be older, you know, in terms of years than your body is in terms of health. And that's ideally what you want.
Right.
Listen, guys, I hope that this was helpful and you got something out of today's conversation. We're in this love series. We're talking about Eros love today. If you have not signed up for the 28-day love challenge, you need to go and do that immediately, so that you can begin to restore the love and passion in your relationship. But listen, until then, we'll see you in the morning for another great episode.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Take care, guys. Enjoy your